Hi, I'm Niall Heaney from Gulfstream Boat Sales. Today we are in Fermanagh here in Northern Ireland taking a look around this 2006 Sealine S38 sports cruiser. This is a fantastic example of these S38 cruisers. They're a very popular sports boat, huge accommodation on board. There's sleeping space for up to 7 guests. You've got a huge big cockpit for entertaining during the day, and this one is in immaculate condition throughout. Fantastic spec level as well. It's fitted with a pair of Volvo Penta D4 260 horsepower Sterndrive engines, so they're the more modern engines. It's only got just over 500 hours on the clock. It's got a bow thruster, an anchor windlass, Everspasher heating. It has full suite of Raymarine electronics, teak decks. It's just a beautiful example of the S38. We're going to walk around the boat now in detail. We're going to show you exactly the condition that this one's in. We're going to show you all the features on board. We're also going to start up and run the engines for you as well to just give you a much better idea of what this boat's all about, what condition this one is in, and hopefully help you to figure out whether it might be the right boat for you. The S38 is just a shade under 38 foot long, and it's 12 foot 3 inches across, so 12 foot 3 inch beam. So there's a big lump of a boat, but it's very stylish looking, nice sporty lines on her. You know, it's a sleek looking boat. It's got that forward raked radar arch with a fairly chunky top on it that doubles up as support for your camper covers. This one's got good high bow rails all the way around as well. Good walk around side deck access on both the port and starboard side. Lovely big swim platform. The decks on this boat are all laid in teak, including that swim platform. And the exterior is immaculate. This whole boat is in beautiful condition, which as you'll see in detail as we go around it, but the exterior looks great. Now, it is the end of the season. It's the last week in September here, so the gel coat could be doing with another bit of a polish. It gets polished in the spring of the year, the owner was telling me. You can see there is still a pretty decent shine to it, but it could definitely benefit from a bit of a polish, bit of a waterline scrub before it goes in to the water again for next season. It's obviously difficult to do those sort of jobs whenever the boat's in the water, but the rub rail looks great all the way around. Stern corner on the port side looks really good. We've got an aluminium rub rail with PVC and navy blue PVC insert. The teak on the swim platform looks the part. It's all the original teak, all in very good condition. None of the corners are lifting. The woodwork is all in nice shape. You've got this stern rail across the back. There's a folding boarding ladder underneath this locker here, and we've a bit of storage underneath this locker. We'll take a look at that whenever we get on board, but everything looks good. It hasn't been bounced around off stuff. Corner on the starboard side also looks to be in nice condition, and then taking a look down along that starboard side of the boat, the gel coat again is in lovely shape. I can't really find any lumps out of it. The gel looks really good all the way around. All the fixtures and fittings, like the handrails, are nice and solid. You got these big handrails up on the side of the radar arch, which you can hold on to as you move forward up along the side decks. Sealine badge there. All these nice elongated port lights are all in good condition. None of them are leaking. Again, coming all the way forward here, the gel coat looks fantastic. A bit of a polish in the spring of the year, and it's going to clean up virtually like new. Another nice thing about these Sealines is that they have the anchor recessed in. The anchor roller sort of recessed into the deck, so it's not protruding out beyond the front of the boat. So if you do manage to sort of dunt along another boat or something in the marina, you're not going to put your anchor through the side of it, and it just looks a lot sleeker as well. We'll take a look at the anchor locker and things, the windlass setup whenever we're up on board. But yeah, gel coat all the way around this boat is immaculate. Very, very nice. Loads of cleats as well. How many cleats do we have? We've got the forward cleat here. There's a fair lead just on the bow, so if you do want to run a bow or line over the front, you can use that fair lead. Big chunky cleat here. We've got a second one there, a third one around about just aft of midships, and then a fourth one on the stern. So no shortage of locations to tie up and tie spring lines and stuff like that. These sea lines are obviously well thought out, well built, and really well put together. So let's, what are we looking at here? A couple of other wee bits and pieces. The exhaust for the heater outlet, or the sort of exhaust for the heater I should say. It's deck drain I think down there. Tank vents and stuff. A few tank vents up along the side of her. yeah, so it looks great. I'm going to walk up, we're going to take a look at the swim platform, and then we're going to go up along the side decks and take a look at the foredeck. So on the swim platform, as I said, all laid in real teak. We've got our folding bathing ladder, nice big deep bathing ladder, stores on underneath there. We've got a transom shower and a switch for it here, pull out transom shower. We've got these little molded in steps, again, the top of them laid in teak, so you can easily access both the port and starboard side decks. This handle is well located here, so you can hang on to that when you're climbing out of the water. We've got a storage locker back here, which is like a wet locker, and it drains overboard, so the owner keeps his hose reel and power washer reels in there. One wee tiny little nick out of the gel coat in there, but that's super minor. And you can see the lid, you know, the teak is well adhered. It's not separating or anything. All looks great. Well placed handrail across the stern you can hang on to as you're boarding the boat. Shore power socket down in there, and then another little step for moving up forward. So let's head up along the side deck here and show you the front of the boat. Again, well placed handrails on the side of the radar arch. Down here we have a diesel fill point for the starboard tank. Okay, I don't know which tank actually, because both diesel fill points are on this side. That's your other diesel fill point there. So that's for both tanks. You got a water fill point just forward of that, and then up forward again you've got your waste suction point. So that's for emptying your holding tank. Top of the arch you've got your VHF antenna, you've got your Raymarine radome, nav lights up there, and a TV aerial over the far side, along with another couple of handrails. This radar arch is big enough to give you actually a bit of shade whenever you're standing at the helm, and there's also a clever little compartment in there that you can roll your tonneau cover, your camper covers up into whenever they're not in use. So nice big chunky fiberglass. It's sort of like a half-sized hardtop. So nice wide side decks, a huge foredeck on the boat, all molded and non-slip, non-skid decking. So you could do whatever you want. You could throw towels down, you could sunbathe out here, you could strap down paddle boards or kayaks or a dinghy or whatever. You got a huge big foredeck on her, which really adds to the usability. And then we've got our anchor windlass up here, foot switches so you can operate the anchor windlass from here or from the dash, and big chain locker there as well. Everything's in really nice condition. The bow rails all look perfect. All the bright work on this boat, again, because this has been a freshwater boat, virtually as far as we know from new, then all the stainless steel and bright work and stuff is immaculate. Not like a saltwater boat where you're constantly battling rust stains and things. Deck hatches look good. Windscreens and the windscreen frame looks great. Camper covers are good as well. We'll take a look at those inside. And then we've got the same width of side deck down along the port side as well. So you can easily maneuver around the boat for working with lines and stuff like that. Stepping on board then, we've got one little step up here. We've got this lockable transom gate, nice stainless steel and perspex affair. And then we've got access into this huge cockpit. Just to give you a bit of the history of this particular boat, it was sold new in, I think it was November 2005, but it's an 06 hull number, so it was first put in the water in 2006 in England. It's UK VAT paid, all the proper paperwork. We've got the builder certificate, all that sort of stuff. We've also got a full chain of ownership as well, full chain of title. It's had 3 owners since then. So sold new in England. Then when it was 2 years old, it came to Northern Ireland to fresh water here on the Loch Erin system, and it has remained here ever since. It's had 2 owners whilst it's been here. The current owners own the boat since 2013. So it's a freshwater boat, which means it has none of the signs of saltwater use. So the engine bay is immaculate. All the bright work and stainless steel work around the boat is perfect. You know, I don't know if you spent much time looking around boats or if you've owned boats in the past, but there's a huge difference between a saltwater used boat and a freshwater boat. Freshwater boats just last so much longer. They look great so much longer. And if you're looking for a boat to use in freshwater, I would strongly recommend trying to buy a freshwater boat. Even if you're looking for something older to put in saltwater, if you can get a freshwater example, you're going to get much more, many more years of trouble-free use out of it. So this is a freshwater boat, which puts it miles ahead of any saltwater examples in my mind. It's been fastidiously cared for and looked after. It was last out of the water in September sorry, not September, May 2021. So it was out all winter, last winter, and in May time it had a bunch of stuff done. It was fully serviced, engines and stern drives. The owner did a bunch of recent upgrades as well. He renewed the fridge. There's a brand new fridge there. There's a new battery charger on board. The covers were sort of refurbed. A lot of the zips were replaced and things. He had a full compound and polish. The boat was anti-fouled. The anodes were replaced then in May 21 as well. And he just left it ready to go to the water for the 2021 season. It's done. It has been used this season. I don't know how many hours he's put on it. I would guesstimate maybe 15 or 20 or 30 hours, something like that. But it's ready to use if you want to do a bit of boating through the winter. Just keep on going and just get it serviced again next spring. So a really nice example, really well cared for. Everything is working bar one little item that I'll tell you about later on when we come to it. And I think the engine room bulbs might need looked at, but other than that, everything on this boat works. It's only got 500 hours on the clock. It's immaculate. All the paperwork's there. UK VAT paid, service history's with it. You know, I don't think there's a nicer example of an S38 on the market today. Massive cockpit, a U-shaped lounger on the starboard side around that big cockpit table. We've got a wet bar on the port side with a little barbecue grill and a fridge underneath. We've got a port side lounger. Somebody's left their sweet wrapper. Somebody's gonna forget a talking to there. And beautiful helm station, twin wide helm seat, great headroom, great camper covers, and then forward access into the cabin. So let's take a look around this area in more detail now. So at the port side aft end of the cockpit, we have our manual bilge pumps with the handles stored here. We've got a 240 volt socket, exterior grey 240 volt socket. You can plug in whatever hoovers or power washers or things too. Obviously this boat, because it has a generator on board as well, you've got 240 volt power no matter where you go, which is great. You've got your gas locker in here, so your gas bottle's down in there. We have a barbecue grill here, so this is like an electric barbecue, and it's brand new this year. The owner replaced this in the spring of the year, so that's a brand new grill. The original one just packed up, so the owner replaced it. Nice little bit of corian on top. This stainless steel backing plate protects it from the heat. Stainless steel gas strutting thing, so that's a great little area where you can stand and prepare food. Underneath here we've got a fridge. This is the original fridge, 12 volt refrigerator, so you can get your drinks without having to go down into the galley down below. Then further forward of that, we've got our port side lounger seats. That's a nice big sofa there. It'll accommodate probably up to at least three people. The isolator switches are back here as well, conveniently located behind this little cushion. And you've got your main isolator for your port battery, starboard battery, and then your circuit breakers. Now, a quick note on batteries. There's a total of 7 batteries on board this boat, 6 in the engine room and 1 for the bow thruster. The owner is telling me the bow thruster battery is original and it's never given any issue, and the 6 engine batteries were replaced about 3 years ago, so they're all good. So you just knock the isolator switches off there as you're leaving the boat. We got a little port light into the cabin, the aft cabin down below. We have cup holders here, little chart table area in here, and then there's a deck hatch up forward to give a bit more light down into the galley down below there. Everything's in beautiful condition. On the starboard side then, we have this huge big U-shaped lounger seat around this nice oversized cockpit table. Now you can remove the table. The table legs clip onto these hangers on the bottom of the table, and the table stores in that little slot underneath there, so you can store the table out of the way without it taking up room. You'll also notice there's a second cushion down in there. Now what that's for is you can slide this seat base up here. It sits up in this area up here, that little slot, and then the cushion goes in on top, and you can make that whole area there into a huge big sun lounger. Or if you're pushed for extra accommodation space, you could have a couple of kids or a couple of people could sleep out here overnight underneath the camper covers. So lovely lovely big space there for entertaining guests, and everybody sits off to one side. You got a nice clear thoroughfare on the port side. I'd say you could easily accommodate maybe 8 people around that table. Upholstery and stuff is all in beautiful condition. The camper covers all look the part as well. The owner had these refurbished this year, so there was new zips and things, new clips and catches added. So the camper covers at the back end here all look fantastic. And then we've got some storage here underneath some of these seats as well. Now there's probably bits and pieces of gear stored in there. It's a obligatory beer cabinet under that one. This is just the storage for the lounger, or sorry, the pillar cushion and stuff. And we have another big locker underneath this back seat where the owner's got all his cleaning stuff. That's even the compound head, the polishing mop there. This guy is fastidious in taking care of this boat. You know, he's got a polisher, he's got all a locker full of cleaning equipment, he's got a power washer on board. These are all good signs of an owner that takes care of his boat. So there we go. Another thing I want to point out is this radar arch. So lovely radar arch, forward facing, very sporty looking. We've got these lights, these downlighters set into it, and they're on a dimmer switch, so you can actually dim those down, which is nice. So you can dim those right down if you're out at night time, and you don't want to have it too bright. And it also has a storage compartment there at the front for folding the covers up into, so you can drop that down, fold the covers up into it, and it makes it look a lot neater. So good size radar arch with a good bit of protection offered from it, and it gives a lot of structural stability to the camper covers. Moving forward again then, we've got our helm station. So we've got a nice big twin wide helm seat, easily big enough to accommodate 2 or possibly 3 people. You can flip up these bolsters as well. So if you want to flip those bolsters up, you can sit or stand at the helm seat. And a really commanding helm station that we'll take a look at. We'll go through that in a bit more detail. I'll run you through all the switch gear and the electronics and stuff. But a great helm station. Nice stainless steel footrest there at the bottom. The entire cockpit floor is all laid in teak, I should say. It's all single level as well. Just one little tiny step up for the helmsman, but the rest of it's all single level, so there's nothing to trip over. Teak's in great condition. The helmsman also has a heater outlet here at his feet. You can see we've got the design, the CE badge there on the boat too. She's category B rated, offshore rated for 10 passengers plus gear. There's a great helm position on the boat. Really comfortable double wide helm seat here. I'm well supported, got a side bolster on it as well. Nice comfortable backrest. And whenever I'm sitting in the helm seat, I've got clear visibility out through the center of the windscreen. So I'm looking straight out through the screen there. Good side visibility as well, out through this panel in the camper covers. And I'm slightly elevated over the rear seat passengers also, so you can sort of look over their heads whenever you're coming into berth the boat, or if you want to just keep an eye on what's happening behind. I can also flip up the seat bolster, and then I'm sort of resting on the bolster, and I'm looking straight through this top perspex screen, so I'm looking over the top of the boat, and there's room to stand. There's room to stand here at the helm as well. Tilt position adjust on the steering wheel, so I can tilt that up if I am standing, or drop it back down if I'm sitting down. So great, comfortable helm position. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that these forward screen panels are going a little bit opaque. It's probably because they lie at quite a steep angle. They sort of match the angle of the windscreen, so they sort of they get a bit more weather, a good bit more weather than the side panels. So the sides and rear curtains are all pretty good, but these are starting to go a wee bit opaque. So if it was me, I'd probably get these replaced. But you can just replace the actual clear perspex panels, and it's not that big a job. There's also a tonneau cover with the boat, which the owner has at home, and he tells me it's in great condition, so that's like more of a storage cover. So if you were going to do this job over the winter, you can put the tonneau cover on. You don't have to have the boat lying open to the elements. There's also a little tear up here, one tiny, you can sort of see it there in that cover, and there's another little small one there. So that cover really needs replaced, but other than that, the rest of the camper covers are great. The owner, as I said, had them refurbed, waterproofed, and zips and stuff redone also this year. So other than just replacing those panels, there's nothing else to do. So there we go. So great helm station. As I said, you can tilt adjust on the steering wheel, so you can raise and lower the steering wheel to suit. We've got EVC controls on this boat. It's obviously fitted with those Volvo Penta D4 260 engines, which are definitely the engine of choice. They're the younger, because this is an 06 boat. It's a later build. I think the S38 came out in 2003 as far as I'm aware. So this 06 is a sort of one of the latest versions of it. So it's got the D4 engines, 260 horsepower, common real fuel injection, very refined motor. We're going to fire those up here now shortly and show you them running. And you got fly-by-wire controls, so finger light throttle and shift controls. We've got trim tab controls down here just below that. Let's key on the ignition so you can, I'll show you the engine hours and stuff, and it brings on the power to these trim tabs. So because your trim tabs with LED indicators, all working. Everything in this boat works perfectly. You've got your trim switch here, so this is for trimming the drives up and down. We've got our bow thruster control as well, so let's turn that on. So that's it on, and then if we hit the thruster, making nice healthy noises, and the boat's responding really well to that thruster input. We've got Raymarine speed and depth logs, so boat speed here and depth onto the keel here, which is all working. We've got all our 12 volt switch gear here, so anchor windlass switch, engine blower motor, combined battery switch. We've got bilge pump switches here, nav equipment. The owner tells me that this nav equipment is just always on actually, so that switch doesn't do anything. We've got our windscreen wipers, they're working both sides perfectly. Screen wash as well. Is there a wee bit of screen wash going? Screen wash bottle maybe needs topped up. The horn's not working. A really common problem because they're virtually never used. So the horn's not working. These are the switches for the arch lights, and then navigation lights and deck lights. Everything working. This is the EVC control panel for the Volvo system. We've got a Raymarine Ray 240E VHF radio with the external mic in good working order, and we've got a Raymarine C60 chart plotter here as well. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's go and have a look at pages. So we've got a scanner on this one as well, a radome radar scanner, as well as the chart plotter function, and it's all working. It's picking up position, and I think it definitely has charge to the Shannon Airn system here, or the Airn system for the inland waterways. Yeah, so it's got the inland waterways charge for the whole of Ireland on it, the looks of things. There we go. So nice Raymarine C80, all working perfectly as well. So let's take control of the helm here on the EVC panel, and let's have a look at the dash to show you the current engine hours. So we've got all the engine instruments up here: voltmeter, oil pressure, fuel level, engine temperature, RPM gauge with built-in hour clock, currently showing 516.4 hours in the clock on the port engine, and on the starboard engine we've got 516.7 hours, so virtually identical engine hours. This is your trim gauges, and this is your rudder indicator, which is all working as well. I'll swing the steering whenever we fire the engine up, and then you get the instruments repeated for the starboard engine, and then you get your little displays down here, your little status monitors there as well. So let's fire up here, and I will show you the engines in the engine bay. Make sure we're in neutral, and turn the key. That's the port engine and the starboard engine. And swing the rudder, swing the steering, you can see the rudder indicator moving. That's all working. All these instruments are all working. Oil pressures come up, temperature will build up gradually. Volts, 14 volts, so she's charging on the port engine. Your rev counter, trim gauges are working. Over on this side, again, 13.8 volts or so. Oil pressure's up, temperature come up. So she's starting on the button. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take the boat out a run today. You've got to go quite a distance from here to get the boat on the plane, so we don't really have time to do it. And the owner's not around, so I don't want to take the boat out without the owner, but he tells me it's running perfectly. The boat, he says, like there's tons of power in this thing, and they were built to plane easily and, you know, hit a nice respectable top end speed. So this boat planes very easily. It cruises comfortably in the mid 20s, sort of 24 knots or something. The owner tells me sort of he uses that as his fast cruising speed. He says he rarely opens it up fully, but he has had it up to like 32, 33, 34 knots. So that's your sort of top end speed. So it's a fast cruising boat if you want it to be, but it'll tip along all day long at sort of 20, 25 knots. It's going to be very fuel efficient, very quiet and easy to run at those sort of speeds as well. This boat, everything the owners told me is stacked up with it whenever I've checked it out, and it's immaculate, so I have no reason to believe that it doesn't do anything other than perform flawlessly. So let's show you the engine bay while these motors are running. So there you go, perfect. Starting on the button, doing everything they're supposed to do, and yeah, just mechanically, this boat looks mint. Access into the cabin then is through the sliding perspex door, so you can lock that door, sliding really nicely on the runners, and then we've got 3 steps giving us access down into the saloon here. For me, this is where this boat really comes into its own and sets itself apart from all your other sort of 36 to 38 foot sports cruisers. It's got a brilliant layout, separate forward cabin with an island berth, ensuite access to the heads compartment and a separate shower compartment, a huge aft cabin which is also separate from the rest of the boat, and then this lovely saloon area and galley. So whilst it's a lovely shape of a boat, very sleek looking, from the dock, they cram an incredible amount of accommodation down below here, and because it's a Sealine, it's all built and executed to the highest standards. Really high quality fit and finish, lovely cherrywood joinery throughout, lovely solid surface countertops and things, and just a really clever layout. So I'm going to walk you around all these areas now and show you the condition that this one's in. So the saloon area itself is this nice U-shaped lounger seating around a big cherry gloss table. So lovely table, nice sort of velour upholstery which is in good condition. We've got this carpeted area. There is like an overmat that goes down here that the owner uses. You can see some of these wee clips at the back to keep it in position, so we've lifted that up to show you the condition of the carpet underneath, but there is a wee overmat that goes down there as well. Got a total of 4 portholes over here, so you get plenty of natural light and ventilation. You can get a good view out there as well. You get these little Venetian blinds that drop down to screen that off, and then a bunch of cupboards across here. Now there's bits and pieces in here, but you get storage all the way around, all the way along there. We've got a 12-volt TV in here. There's another 12-volt TV in the aft cabin. We've got our generator control panel, which we'll go through in a minute. We've got our C-Flex boat control panel. Again, this is something that you only sort of found on the later boats, that Sealine C-Flex system. And then we've got our 240-volt switch panel up there too. So I want to walk you through those things in detail in a wee minute, but just to show you the condition in here, it's lovely. Headliner looks perfect. You get these nice downlighters, and again, these high gloss wood panels laid into the roof as well. You know, you've got these little indirect lights in behind these little recessed areas in the gunnels. There's storage underneath these seats also. I'm not going to probably pull and hook at that now at the minute, but and then you can also drop this table down, just doing this little undoing this little hand screw. Drop that table down, and there's a filler cushion that sits on top of it, and that makes that area up into a double bed. So that gives you double bed out here, double bed in the fore cabin, and there's actually 3 berths, believe it or not, in the aft cabin. So that's a total of 7 berths downstairs, plus you still have the option of sleeping another couple of people out on the sun lounger in the cockpit too. So just masses of accommodation in this thing. Condition wise, it's all lovely. Again, these nice wooden steps down into the cabin, stainless steel handrails here to grab onto, and it's all beautifully finished off. On the port side then, opposite the saloon, you have the galley. So nice big area of countertop, loads of storage in it. We've all got a solid wooden floor here as well. which is nice because that's going to be a high wear area, so your carpet's probably going to wear out there. So they've done a nice solid wooden floor at the galley, and again this lovely sort of Korean countertop. We've got a twin burner gas hob here, so twin ring gas hob. We've also got a gas cooker as well. We have a 1.5 or sink and a half or whatever they call it, stainless steel sink with hot and cold running water. And we've got 240-volt power sockets here. Remember, TV point there. Remember, this boat has the generator on board, so you can get 240-volt power no matter whether you're plugged into shore power or out on the anchor or staying on an island or something. We've got little pull-out drawer for your bins in there. Nice little larder drawer. We've got a fridge in here. This is a brand new fridge, the owner was telling me. The original one packed up, unfortunately, so this is a brand new fridge. And these boyos are not cheap either. If you've ever bought a fridge for a boat, you'll know that you'll not have much change out of 800 or 900 quid. So that's a brand new isotherm fridge. Nice little wine rack here. More storage then. Oh, that boil there needs a bit of looking at. With a bit of storage in there. That wee boy's just come off my hand. Anyway. And then storage along the top here as well. In here we have our stereo and our controller for your TV antenna. This is a Bluetooth stereo, and we had it on earlier. It's all working perfectly. So there you go. That's a fairly new stereo as well. It's an upgrade over the original one. We shelf up top with fiddle edge, so you can store bits and pieces up there. Curtains to screen off those port lights. Overhead deck hatch as well, so you can open that, get a bit more ventilation if you are cooking down here. And just a nice compact galley, pretty decent storage in there, and easily going to accommodate a family for a week or so away on the water. Plenty of cooking facilities and all in lovely condition like the rest of the boat. Moving forward, on the starboard side here we have the heads compartment, and it has ensuite access into the forward master cabin. So this is your heads compartment. Electric flush toilet, Jabsco electric flush toilet, because in the holding, there's obviously a holding tank on this one because it's a freshwater boat. Nice little vanity mirror storage behind. You got this little sort of hidden light up there which looks the part, as well as these downlighters. Nice little sink unit, storage underneath, and it's all fully lined and drained in case you make a bit of a mess in there or you splash. It's not actually a shower compartment. The shower compartment is on the other side of the boat. So nice little heads compartment in very good condition. And then on the port side we've got a separate shower compartment. So this is great. It means if somebody's showering on board, you still have the use of the heads, which is important on a family boat. If you've ever been away on one that just has a single shower and toilet compartment, you can get people bashing on the door. But anyway, this one has a separate shower compartment. Again, an open and port light over here. Port lights in the heads and the shower are opaque, and a little screen shower curtain to screen it off, and the shower curtain's not moldy or anything, which is a nice sign because it shows that the boat's been looked after. A lot of these curtains are moldy and the whole unit smell damp, but not in this one. And then again, ensuite access into the master cabin. So nice shower compartment, and then the center door is into our forward master cabin. So you get an island double berth, so you can easily access both sides of the bed. Lovely cherrywood high gloss joinery throughout. Everything is immaculate. There's no evidence of any leaks or anything from any of the port lights in this boat or the deck hatches. Got a nice big mirror across the head of the bed. We've got hanging lockers on both sides, so that's going to work as your wardrobe space. Little sort of units. There's storage up here as well, all these cupboards. There's a heater outlet down here, so you get heating in all the cabins. The Eberspeicher heats all 3 cabin areas plus the cockpit. Hanging locker over here, all immaculate. Carpets in beautiful condition as well. And then we storage underneath the bed. So let's lift this up. This lifts up on a gas strut, which is nice. You don't have to fight with a cushion to keep it up there. And then you've got a huge big storage area in here. This is the filler cushion then for the top of the table in the saloon. So that goes on top of the table in the saloon and makes up the double berth out there. So all in really great nick. You've got opening deck heights there with a little sliding screen to screen that off at night time, as well as curtains for the 2 port lights. So beautiful cabin. Your light switches up here at the head of the bed, and you've got other light switches up here. So, and they're on dimmer switches. Nearly all the lights in here are on dimmers. Let me see, which one is it? So you can dim the get the right one here eventually. Yeah, there you go. So you can dim those right down or put them to whatever brightness you like. So really nice touch, that. And then at in the floor, I just want to show you this briefly. You get access into your bow thruster battery and your isolator switch for the bow thruster. Everything behind the scenes on this boat looks as nice as all the bits you can see, which again is always a nice touch. So beautiful forward master cabin. While we're at the business of looking behind the scenes, I just want to show you underneath these lockers as well, underneath these hatches I should say. So this is your holding tank. This is your black water tank coming in, fills from the toilet, and you can pump it out. Deck level pump out, which is the one that's been in use because this boat's a freshwater boat, but I think it also is equipped with a macerator, so you get the macerator out there as well. You've got forward bilge pumps up in there, seacocks. Look at everything, it looks immaculate. Look how clean that seacock is. This boat is just an incredibly nice example. Underneath here is a big storage area. You know, he's got his hoover, and that's the overmat I was telling you about that he uses to protect the carpet down here. Again, everything nice and dry in the bilges. Heater outlet for the saloon is there at your feet. Access into the aft cabin then is via this door just beside the galley, and then we've got access into this aft cabin. This aft cabin is fantastic on these S38s. Really is very cleverly done. So you get full standing headroom as you come into the cabin. We've got this nice big hanging locker stroke wardrobe. It's even got its own little wash basin here and vanity unit as you come in with hot and cold running water, which is nice, especially if you've got teenagers or whatever. You know, they can faff about here at the sink to their heart's content. Storage underneath, you know, without all the DVD storage and stuff, you know, they can use that sink without having to tie up the main heads compartment. And then we've got a total of 3 berths in here, which is great. Got these twin berths over here, you're sort of typical what you would get on every sort of sports cruiser this size. And you can put a filler piece in there and make that up into a nice big double berth as well. But we've also got this additional full length single berth on the port side here, which is pretty unusual. You don't tend to find this on many boats of this size. So you got full proper 3 size beds in here, which is great if you've got 3 kids or if you just want to accommodate more people. Another 12-volt TV in here, remote control, bit of storage underneath it. Again, all the same high gloss cherrywood joinery throughout here. Condition wise is immaculate. Headline is perfect. All the wee downlighters are all working. You get your dimmer switches up at the head of the bed. You've got an open and port light over on the starboard side as well, so you can open both portholes and get a bit of a breeze through this cabin if you want to air it out. And you've also got this little port light that opens out into the cockpit up above. But it's just in lovely, really is in lovely condition. Bit of storage underneath the beds. Nope, that's access to a sender for some sort of a tank, either water or fuel, I would imagine. What's underneath it? It's another sender for some other tank. So scratch that. There's no storage underneath these beds, but there is storage underneath this bed because I've already checked that. So you get storage in there, and nice little locker unit there. More storage here, little mirror up there, and then, as I said, the wee sink and vanity unit there, and your hanging locker here. Again, just in immaculate condition. We've got our heater outlet down here and a 240-volt socket as well, so you got heating throughout the boat. Engine access on the boat is very straightforward. You just have to lift this large hatch in the center of the cockpit. You don't even have to remove the cockpit table if you don't want to. Now you can, if you did remove the table, it'll lift up a bit higher, but I'm going to nip in underneath it as it is here. And then you've got a wee ladder, 3-step ladder, giving you access down into the engine room. So we're going to climb down in here. because I want to have a good look around this engine bay. Like the rest of this boat, it is in absolutely immaculate condition. This is definitely the nicest engine room I've been in a while. It's immaculate. Look at that, the floor spotless. This is how we arrived to the boat today. So the floor spotless. The bilges, you've got access in underneath this here plastic grid to your bilge pumps, automatic float switches. You've also got depth transducers in there. Bilges are nice and clean and dry. No evidence of there ever been any sort of significant amount of water in there. And then we've got the pair of engines that you really want to see in one of these S38s. The engine of choice in my book would be the D4 260. So a pair of Volvo Penta D4 260s. That's the more modern engine, the common rail fuel injection. They're very sophisticated power plant, and they have an enviable reputation for reliability and fuel economy. These things are well proven. They give very little trouble if they're properly maintained, and this boat has been properly maintained. We've also got the Fisher Panda generator down here. That's the 8 kilowatt generator. Control boxes for it. You've got your fuel filters, pre-filters mounted conveniently on the forward bulkhead for the two engines and the generator, with your shut-off valves, and you've got all your diagrams explaining what's what. Again, that's a sign of the sort of Sealine build quality. Engine room bulkhead lights. Now we do have a couple of bulbs out. We've a bulb out in this one and a bulb out over in that one on the far side, but that should be pretty straightforward to fix. EVC control systems for the Volvo stuff. We've got a calorifier there for your hot water. Power trim motor for the starboard engine over there in the starboard corner. What else do we have? Fire extinguishing system. Everything looks the part. These are shift actuators. They were actually replaced, the owner was telling me, in 2013, because they got a wee bit sticky, a wee bit noisy. That's for your electronic throttle and shift. So that's good that they're replaced, because they do have a limited lifespan, those things, and they're about 700 or 800 quid from memory. So this one has had 2 new actuators in 2013. It's also had a new battery charger this year, 2021. Brand new Sterling, is it Sterling? Yeah, Sterling Power battery charger. It's a fairly beefy item as well, and an expensive charger. That was just fitted this year. Water pump, fresh water pump, battery boxes in here. Power trim motor for this port engine back there. Again, some more Volvo and C-Plex gubbins back there. But everything is nice and clean and tidy. It's dry in here, which is great. And there is zero corrosion. Big advantage of it being a freshwater boat. Look at the pulleys in the front of that engine. There is no corrosion there at all. Engines were last serviced in May of 2021. Brand new filters, brand new fuel filters. Everything looks nice and clean and tidy. Let's pull a dipstick on this one. Sorry about that. Just needed my other hand. So yeah, engine oil was done. The Sterndrives were also serviced in May of 21. Oil's nice and clean. So yeah, it's fully serviced, up to date. I just want to pull the dipsticks in these engines again, because I was trying to do it on my own there with one hand, and it wasn't great. And the other reason is because this thing, the oil, I've never seen oil as clean as this in a diesel engine, and I wasn't sure was there actually oil on the dipstick. So now I should say the boat was, as I said, it was fully serviced in May 2021. Engine oil was done, oil filters, fuel filters. Now the boat has been used this season. I'm not too sure how many hours, but I'd say guess maybe 15 or 20. But that is, the oil level's perfect, and there is oil on that dipstick. It's not as if there's no oil on it. Look how clean that oil is. I can't get over how clean this engine bay is. The engines look like they're brand new. I'll show you this one as well. So this is the other engine. I've already cleaned this dipstick. So there you go. There's the oil level right up to the top, and the oil is immaculate for a diesel engine. Now that's, listen, it's still a 2006 boat with 2006 engines and 500 hours on them, so they still have every possibility of causing a bit of trouble down the line or needing ongoing maintenance, obviously. But for an 06 boat, you just don't get engine bays as clean as this. You don't get motors as clean as that. This thing is incredible. The benefits is freshwater use, and it's obviously been looked after like a baby its entire life. So just wanted to point that out before we get out of the engine room. Just before we finish on the subject of the engines as well, through the wonders of technology, we're going to take you onto the water and show you what the Sterndrives and props look like. This is a wee thing we've been playing around with for a while. Still not, it's a bit not perfect, but I think it's pretty good, you know, considering the boat's sitting in the water and you're able to have a look at the props and the Sterndrive. So have a look. The owner told me that the props were rebalanced whenever the engine was serviced in May of 21, and they're looking immaculate at the minute. Bit of growth on them obviously, but the blades are nice and straight, the skegs look good. So check it out, have a look below the water at the drives. Okay, so before we wrap up here now, let's show you all the switch gear and stuff down here. So this is your 240 volt panel. So you can see we're plugged into shore power with 240 volts there. This shows you your current draw, which is very little. Switches for the stove, the barbecue stove out in the cockpit fridge. The fridge works on dual voltage. So whenever this is switched on and you're plugged into shore power, it runs on 240 volt, and whenever you're offshore power, it runs on 12 volt. Water heater, battery charger, sockets, hob and galley, your main incoming trip. This little indicator light shows that we've got 240 volts coming onto the boat. This swap over switch lets you swap between shore power and generator power. So if you're running the Jenny, you need to swap it over to generator power. This here Sealine C-Flex panel lets you control a lot of the systems on the boat. So you've got your water tank levels here, sort of fresh water tank, black water tank is your waste, your holding tank, and then grey water. It's on the menu, but it's not on the boat. That's not a feature on this boat. So you get your fresh and black water tanks. Then we've got domestic levels, so you can turn on your fridges. Now, the fault on this boat that the owner's told me about, and to be fair to the owner, he didn't even really have to tell me about this fault because I wouldn't have been any the wiser if he hadn't told me, but this cockpit fridge, the module that switches this on from this system is not working. So if you turn, not the cockpit, sorry, the galley fridge, this one. So if you turn that off and on, hit that button, it doesn't actually do anything. So how the owner found out about this is because his fridge stopped working and he couldn't figure out why. And it was the module that was at fault. But the modules are, I think they can be got, but it was like 700 quid. But the owner wanted his fridge working in a hurry, so he had it hardwired. So the fridge is now hardwired. So, but it still does work off 240 volt or 12 volt. It's hardwired to both voltages. So it just means that this little switch here doesn't actually do anything, but this one does, turns off and on the cockpit fridge. And then if we scroll down, you can also turn off and on your bilge pumps, but let me turn that off again, and the fans, but you can also turn those off and on at the switches on the dash. So that's that. menu. Then you've got your water menu here, so you've again water level here, and you can turn your water pump off and on. This one here is your battery menu, shows you your current 12 volt power and your current amperage draw. This is your lights menu, so you can turn your engine bay and your deck LEDs on and off. The deck LEDs are little tiny little dots. I forgot to point them out as we're going around, but they are working, and I'll turn off the engine bay lights now as well. And then you get your nav lights and stuff. You can also control those from the dash. This is just a general settings menu. This is an anchor windlass menu, so you can turn off and on your helm switches or your foot switches. And then this is these are like one touch buttons, so you can like hit this whenever you board the boat, come on the boat, it turns on fridges and water pumps, and you can hit that whenever you leave the boat and sort of turns everything off again. You can configure what this does in the settings menu. So nice little panel. The idea behind it was to reduce the quantity of wiring through the boat and reduce the weight and stuff, and make it like a more of a CAN bus type network. And it's all working perfectly, bar that one module that turns the fridge off and on, which you'll not even notice that it's not there. Again, because you've got this C-Flex system, you've got all these touch panel switches for your lights, and you've got your dimmer switches and all that sort of good stuff. So a nice system, and all in bar that one module working completely perfectly. Taking a look down here, then we have our control panel for our generator, Fisher Panda 8 kilowatt generator. So turn that on, gives you the hour clock. So it's currently got 164 hours in the generator. To start the generator up, you have to hold in the heater switch for 15 seconds to heat the engine. This was also serviced actually whenever the rest of the boat and engines were serviced in May 2021. The owner had the generator fully serviced, so it had new engine oil, new oil filters, new fuel filters. So the generator is also fully serviced. So you heat it up, you've got a heater plug. Doesn't get much use, as you can see, with 164 hours, but 8 kilowatts is loads to run the whole boat. So you can run everything you need, keep your batteries topped up, run your barbecue grill in the cockpit and all your 240 volt sockets, etc. And then that's her started up, and she's making AC power, and you can see all the warning lights are out. So this is monitoring temperature, oil pressure, voltage, all that sort of stuff. So nice little panel there, and then to knock it off, that's her stopped. Generator in perfect working order. And finally, if you're still watching this, you're very keen on this boat because it's bound to be boring at this stage. But anyway, lift the TV down, and you got your control panel in here for your Eberspasher heater. So you can turn the Eberspasher off, control the temperature there. And as I said, we've got our outlets in all three cabins downstairs: the main saloon, the forward cabin, the aft cabin, plus one up in the cockpit at the helmsman's feet that will heat the entire cockpit, and your other 12 volt TV. So there you go, really well laid out, everything working as it should. Just a really nice example, great spec, all the toys, all the bells and whistles, and all nice and easy to use as well. So there you go, that's our 2006 Sealine S38. This boat is immaculate. Hopefully you can tell from the video. I'm a big fan of it. I think this size of boat is a fantastic size for, you know, family trips away. You can easily go away and spend a week on board in comfort with a family of 4 or 5. It's got a big enough cockpit for entertaining big groups of friends. You've got great facilities on board with the gas cooking, the electric generator, the electric toilets and stuff. Heating on this one, great set of covers. It's all the bells and whistles. And it has to be one of the nicest examples, if not the nicest example, of an S38 on the market today. A freshwater boat that's got bags of life left in it. It's only got just over 500 hours on the clock. Excellent spec with the bow thruster, the anchor windlass, all the Raymarine electronics and radar and all that sort of stuff. Teak decks, and fully serviced this year and just ready to go to the water for her new owners. Like a minute snag list on this one. Maybe replace these covers at the front and a couple of bulbs, and that's about the height of it as far as I can tell. So a really nice example. We're expecting there to be pretty strong interest in this boat. If you do like it and you want to arrange to come and see it, or arrange a survey or sea trial, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Just give me a call on the number at the top of the web page, or send me an email to sales@gulfstreamshop.com, or fill out the callback request form on this page of our site, and I'll contact you at a time that's convenient. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it useful.